Alright, David Harry here. Now, are you an iPad 2020 owner who's been looking for a USB hub which is capable of sending a HDMI output from it at 4K 60? If so, you definitely want to watch this video. So what I'm going to do is show you some examples shortly and do some close-ups of this particular hub so you can see what it looks like and what it can do. But before I do that, let me just explain a few things because I've been looking for something like this for some time now, and I'm fairly sure there's probably a lot of other iPad owners out there who are kind of clawing the walls trying to find the same thing. So what it is, I have a number of things here, and this is only part of what I've already tried to use with the iPad Pro. I'll explain what goes on with these and why this is the best thing that I found so far. Right, this here is a Samsung Dex Station. So what this is for Samsung devices which have got Dex on them, and this basically is just a USB hub system. Unfortunately, whilst the iPad will work with it, which is awesome, it doesn't do 4K 60. So yeah, unfortunately can't use that one. Then there's this cable here by Syntec. I've already done a video about this, and if you don't need 4K 60, then this cable may well be the only thing that you need. Unfortunately though, this doesn't do 4K 60 either. Then I've had this little device here, which is another type of USB hub. This one does kind of do 4K most of the time, just doesn't do it at 60 frames per second. This will top out at 30 frames per second. There's also this other cable, or this other USB hub, which looks very similar. The only problem with this one wouldn't do the 4K output. It's also definitely not 4K 60 either, although it would do HD and a couple of other resolutions. Now, that brings me to these two things, of which this one is one of them. So this is what I'm now about to go into showing you. These work amazingly well. They're super for doing the video side of stuff. Also good for other stuff, which I'll explain once I show you the close-up. Also, I've had two other devices as well outside of this lot here, which unfortunately didn't work at all and wouldn't send a video signal out of the cable and stuff like that. So yeah, you can even run into things that just won't work, even though you may think they should do, because of the description of them being a USB hub. You would think maybe that's all that it has to be, with a HDMI socket on the output for it to work. But I'll get into that in a second. Anyways, I'm going to turn the camera over now and I will show you this, and I will show you it in use. So what I'm going to do now is just go over the ports on this hub, and I believe that this port configuration is probably something that's achievable due to the chipset that's in the actual hub itself. Now, I don't know what that chipset is, but I'm going to hazard a guess that whatever it is, that is what has given us the 4K 60 output. So if you can find a hub that looks exactly like this one, it is highly likely to be the same hub, because as we know, most of these things are kind of manufactured by one massive company in China, and then tons of other smaller companies just rebadge and rebrand the same thing for their use. So like I say, if you can find something that looks identical to this, I'm going to hazard a guess it will be the same. Now, there are going to be links to this in my descriptions for the video, but I've got to say I got this in the UK, so I'm not entirely sure if those links are going to produce kind of like, you know, hits for Amazon all over the world. But like I say, just look for something that looks identical to this. So coming from left to right, we've got two card slots here. So we've got a micro and a normal size card slot. Now, they're kind of like quite normal, I suppose, for these things. But next to it here, we have got a USB-C socket. Now, as we can see here, this is a data socket. Now, you don't normally get that on one of these. Now, next to that, we've got two USB-A's, and these USB-A's are blue, so they're configured for USB-C. Now, next to those, what we have there is another USB-C, but that one is for power. Now, it's usually that we would see on a port like this or on a hub like this. Now, like I say, I've got a feeling that because it's got the two USB-Cs on it, that is what's going to give it its visual distinction from the other hubs. And that's what I think is the type of hub you should be looking for to get 4K 60, if indeed you can't get this exact one from my links. Now, as I'd mentioned before as well, all of these hubs all have to conform to a particular type of DisplayPort protocol to go down the USB-C cable and such. Now this one happens to do the full compliance, and it must do because it's doing 4K 60. However, one word of warning about this particular hub: the speeds that the data goes down all these sockets is definitely not Thunderbolt or USB-C. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say the data speeds are capped out at around USB 2 speeds. However, they do work. You can transfer data. You can play movie files off cards and such. It just doesn't transfer at anywhere near USB-C's top speed or indeed Thunderbolt or anything like that. Right, so what I'm going to do now is plug it all in, but you're going to have to forgive this weird dodgy angle. It's the only way I can set the camera up to get it all in the shot right now. So what I'm going to do is just plug in the USB-C hub first on its own into the iPad. Now as we can see here, it's gone in on its own, and then this little blue indicator comes up in the corner of the iPad here to tell us that the hub is connected. So right now we've got the hub connected without any extra power. Now of course you should really use the extra power and plug it into the power socket on the hub, because then that way you're going to be keeping the iPad charged up as well. But you don't have to do it if you don't want to or if you can't. Now what I'm going to do is just plug in the HDMI into the hub. Let's get that there. Okay, I'll just put that to one side there. Now what should happen, give it a few seconds and the monitor should come on. There we go. Now as we can see there, it's all reflected in there properly and all the rest of it. Now as you can see here, as opposed to some of the cables you can get, indeed I've already shown a cable on my channel which didn't actually fill vertically either. This does fill vertically, and this is all in 4K right now. Let me just give a quick example of something here. I'll go to my YouTube channel, and I will also take this opportunity to congratulate one of my YouTube buddies, Mr. Robert John Kerr, because he's just reached 1,000 subscribers. Here we go.
Did I mention that I've reached 1,000 subscribers? Hello and welcome to my channel. It's a windy one today. I hope you're all feeling strong and well. I reached 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers. I've reached 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers is what I've reached. Did I mention that I've reached 1,000 subscribers?
Okay, so there we go. Congratulations to Robert for reaching his 1,000 subscribers. Anyways, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to flip over to my capture software on my PC, and then I can actually show you the frame rate and also the resolution being indicated correctly. So just quickly then, what we can see on the screen right now is the Elgato capture software for the 4K 60 Pro Mark II, which is what I'm using to capture the output or the video output from the iPad through the USB-C hub. And as we can see here, it's saying the source is 2160p, which is 4K UHD, and it says 59 there. What that means is 59.94 as far as the frame rate is concerned, because right now it is sending out an NTSC frame rate. However, depending upon EDIDs or EDIDs and stuff like that, this would be registering 60 depending upon other things involved in the chain. I'm not going to get into that right now because that is extremely boring stuff, but for all intents and purposes, just see this as 4K 60. Okay, so as you can see there, that little cheap hub does a great job. Granted, it's not the fastest for data, but it does do a ton of different things as far as data is concerned and what have you. But if your main concern is the 4K 60, defo, that's the one to get. But like I say, it will do other stuff. Now, on the point of it doing other stuff, I'm slowly going through some of these peripheral things that I use with the iPad to finally get up to the point where I've got my final system with everything on it. And when I do that one, I think that'll probably freak you out a bit, because as it stands, I have my iPad Pro 2020 acting very much like a desktop computer. So basically I have this on it. I then have another adapter plugged into that to do hardwired Ethernet. I actually extend this, so all this is out of the way behind the table, and I just have an extender cable come in, plug into the iPad, then everything's all plugged in off the back of it, out of sight. Then the out of sight bit has got all kinds of stuff on, mouse and keyboard, I can do that hardwired. I can even put another USB hub on if I want. I then do Bluetooth mouse and keyboard to the wireless dongles on it. Like I say, there's the hardwired Ethernet and stuff like that. I also also then put a USB audio interface on, something that I'll be doing a separate video about, which then allows me to have microphone on, as in this one here, and also will allow me to kind of like put headphones in and listen to like great audio quality. I can also put like musical keyboards on, all kinds of stuff. It effectively turns the iPad into some kind of like desktop system. Like I say, there are a whole bunch of videos that I have done, a few more that I will do about the separate components, and then I will lead that up to the all singing, all dancing, amazing system that I use, which is why I think that the iPad Pro is just the best tablet system available. And I'm not going to kind of go into one here about like the Android side of things and stuff, but just looking at this on its own, it's amazing. Anyways, yeah, so if you've liked this video and you want to know more about these types of things, there might be a link here, definitely one at the end and one in the description below, taking you to the playlist for my iPad Pro 2020 stuff. I would strongly recommend you check that stuff out if you're into these things, and then keep an eye out for that one that I'm talking about where it's the all singing, all dancing desktop iPad Pro system. Also as well, if you're into game capture or video capture or doing anything to capture the screen off the iPad, I will be doing quite an in-depth tutorial on using this particular interface and capturing the HDMI at 4060 or 405994, whichever way round it gets recognized at the other end. As I was explaining earlier on, I will do all of that in a tutorial with OBS and show people how to actually capture the best possible quality from an iPad Pro. Anyways, I've spoken a ton here for something which is only really a very simple device, but hopefully this video will stop people from making the kind of mistakes that I've made, and they can go straight to something that'll definitely do the job at hand, which is 4K 60 out of an iPad Pro. So if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've really liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. And if I've saved you a massive headache by showing you this little device here, then please get all over that notification icon button as well to be notified of future videos. I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.